Would you like to reduce stress caused by money? Of course, who wouldn't? One of the largest causes of stress from a financial situation is daily money management. If you can get your cash flow and debt management under control, you'll go a long way to feeling better about the money you have and reducing stress overall. Welcome. I'm Ed Smith, President of Valor Wealth Partners, where we are dedicated to educating federal employees on how to maximize value from their complex and often underutilized benefits. Today we're going to tackle two really big topics, but I think it's important to get the basics of both cash flow and debt management down before we can start breaking it up into littler pieces and being a little bit more specific. I'm going to go into some generalities at first, and then I'm going to break down cash flow and then debt management, and so you can see some of the things that we want to be able to look at. It's very important to understand that when you're looking at these two topics, there's a lot of tools and resources out there that you can buy or possibly get for free. But what's more important than the tools that are available is changing your behavior. If you're not willing to change your behavior and get yourself into a better situation, the tools are useless. So today we're going to focus a lot more on the behavioral things that you can do and understanding what's going on. We aren't going to share any specific tools in the video today, but they will be available in the description section. And the reason for this is that they change regularly and we are constantly looking for the best resources for you to be able to use. So we will update them in the description section and also in the ebook that you can find there as well. If you're getting a lot of valuable information from these videos, please subscribe to our channel. If you want to be updated, click that bell, and of course, share it with your friends so they can get the knowledge that you're getting as well. Let's start talking about some of those big topics. One of them is efficiency versus emotion. I started talking a lot more about this with clients years ago when I started seeing a big disconnect, and clients always thought that they should be doing the best thing based off of a financial decision. But in reality, you have to take into consideration your emotional standing and how you feel about things before you make those choices, because that is more important than saving money or doing the right thing. Let's take the example of a car to help understand this a little bit better. You possibly have some money saved up and you can buy the car outright, but you're trying to decide if you should take a loan or if you should pay cash for the car. Well, let's say you're not making too much money in the savings account that you have your money, but the interest rate for the car is very low. What should you do? It might make more sense to get some of that money invested, getting a higher interest rate, and then borrowing the money for the car if the interest rates are very low. Let's say you can get 5% on an investment vehicle and the loan only costs you 2%. That means that you would actually make 3% by getting that car loan. But it means that you have to go maybe outside your comfort area to do that investment, and you just liked having that cash. So that's one area where you have to look at the emotional side versus the efficiency side. Another area you have to consider is you might really dislike paying that monthly car payment. And emotionally, this is just going to eat away at you and you're not going to feel good about that car. In that scenario, there is no amount of efficiency that's going to make this purchase any better. What I would suggest in that scenario is probably buying the car outright, because emotionally, it's not a good decision for you, even though efficiency-wise, it is the best thing for you. Another topic that's very important to discuss at this point is financial literacy. Many people are very uneducated when it comes to money. Maybe their parents didn't teach them the right tactics, they didn't learn it in school, but please don't be embarrassed about your lack of knowledge when it comes to money. It is very common, and it is something we don't talk about with our peers or with anyone else, so we struggle a little bit more. But we are here for you as long as many other resources that can help you out and help educate you to make you better. The final big topic I want to talk about is the lack of accountability. Even if you have the knowledge of what you should be doing, many people can't control their purchasing habits or the way that they control money. Sometimes they need a little bit of help. Now, this could be a tool, or it might have to be a person or a system you design that can help you out. Whatever it is for you, you need to be able to find some way to keep you accountable so you can excel into the future with your money. On a personal side, I didn't get a lot of knowledge from money or good habits when I was younger. My parents divorced when I was young. One set of parents was always trying to find the next get-rich scheme, and the other side, unfortunately, spent a lot of money on vices. And neither of them were good at money. Hopefully, I'm able to share what I've learned over many years with you so that you can grow and be better. And as for me, I'm always trying to learn more ways to get better for myself and also to share with others. Managing your cash flow can be extremely overwhelming. And there's a lot of people out there telling you a lot of different things. One of the things I hear a lot is that you should be looking at what you're spending on and give up some of those things so you can have future goals. A lot of advisors suggest giving up coffee. That 1 cup of coffee a day over the course of the month can save you so much money, and then in 30 years, you're going to be able to retire or buy the things you want. But wait, I want that coffee today. So why should I give up my coffee for something that I may want in 30 years? It just doesn't make sense. What I suggest is that you look at your spending patterns, figure out where you're spending money that you're not enjoying, and cut those things out of your budget versus just finding a simple solution of cutting coffee or some drink that you have every morning. Understanding and getting control of your cash flow isn't something that you can do very easily. It will take discipline, but you can get there and get better. Now, a lot of people will look at cash as just the money in your pocket or maybe at a financial institution, such as a bank or a credit union. But there are other ways to have cash or the term cash. I look at overall liquidity of money that you can have in a short term. This makes me think of reserves and how much reserves should you have on hand. Now, many advisors and speakers out there will say that you need 9 to 12 months of cash on hand. While they might feel very confident for that, that might not be the best for you. I like to look at reserves as a multi-tiered system. The first is in case of an emergency. The second is a warm, comfortable feeling. And the third is a catastrophic reserve. All three of these reserves go to build on your liquidity that you have on a short-term basis. To me, a reserve is again that access to capital. This could be short-term money. It even could be a debt instrument like a credit card or a home equity line of credit. Having access to money with very little penalties is very important, but it doesn't necessarily mean you need to have cash. And sometimes when people keep that much cash, they're losing money as an efficiency, but you have to also look at the emotional side. Even though a program may be efficient for you, it might not be the best thing for you and your family because emotionally you're not comfortable with how much you have on hand, either in your pocket or at that financial institution. Over the last couple years, many people have been adding on more and more subscription services, and they really don't understand how much money they're actually spending per month or per quarter on these services. There was a study that was done, which is called America's Relationship with Subscription Services. They surveyed over 2,500 people, and they asked them a couple different questions. The first one, in 10 seconds, tell us how much you spend a month on subscription services. The number came in just under $80 per month. They then asked them and gave them 30 seconds to answer with a couple of detailed subscription topics of how much money they have. So a little bit more clarification on this. Now they came in around about $112 per month. And then finally, they gave them 21 categories and gave them plenty of time to look over what they're actually spending. And the average came out at $237 per month. They went from quickly thinking that they're only spending under $80 a month to an average of $237. That is an extreme difference in these numbers. Now, at Valor Wealth Partners, we're a subscription-based service, so I'm not saying that subscription services are bad. They're actually a great way to do business because the person that you're buying from is accountable. And if they're not performing, you can fire them. What I'm saying about subscription services is know what you're paying and making sure you're getting the value from these services. You could be duplicating or even triplicating some things that you're buying. We have a process we take our clients through so they can help understand their subscription services a little bit more and how much money they're paying on a regular basis for all of these things. We want to make sure that they're getting enough value out of them to keep them in place. I challenge you to do the same for yourself, to look at what you're spending and making sure it's best for you and your family. We get asked a lot about budgets, and they aren't for everybody. Personally, I'm not a big fan of them. I consider them to be like diets. You get really excited about them at the beginning, and that accountability wears off, and it's very tough to stay true to those things. It's also going back to that coffee. If I've run out of my coffee budget 20 days into the month, I don't have any money to buy coffee, and now you're telling me I can't buy coffee for the next 10 days? Instead, I like to look at your past expenses and look to see if it's fair, sort of like with the subscriptions that we were just talking about. We want you to be able to look at what you're spending your money on and does it make sense for you. So if you analyze the costs, you can be able to make better decisions for the future by if it's valuable or not for you. It's talking about prioritizing the things that are in your life and also looking at the goals and dreams that you want. And are you spending money on things today that aren't going to get you things in the future? Now, I'm not talking about giving up the things that you like. I'm saying make a decision of what the priorities are in your life. There's a lot of great tools out there. Some of them are free. Some of them cost you a little bit of money. But whatever you need to be accountable is what's best for you. But please, don't pay for a tool that you're not going to use or another subscription that's just going to add to your costs. We want you to be beneficial on these things and make sure they're good for you. So please make sure you go to that description section and look at some of the tools that we have for you. And if you have one that we haven't put in there, please let us know. We might have already looked at it and said, hey, we don't like it. Or it might be something we haven't looked at yet because there's a lot of tools coming out. There's great growth in this space, and there's a lot of resources that we just can't be able to look at all of them. The last thing I want to mention about on Cashflow is how we manage this as a business. One of the things that has been very valuable for us is a 13-week cash flow report. We look at this at the beginning of every week to see where we're going to be as a company so we know where our cash flow is going in and out. And we're pretty close about where those numbers are. You can use this personally so you can see 3 months in advance if there's going to be a problem in cash flow. It's always nice to know these things before they become a problem. Let's move on to debt. Before I give you some of the education ideas I have for you in this section, I want to share personal insights. I've struggled with debt. First, it was because I didn't have any money. And growing up in households that didn't have a lot of money, a lot was relied on me, but I wanted the nice things in life. So I lived beyond my means and got myself into trouble. And then when I finally was able to be successful and the paychecks were bigger, I still lived beyond my means because of the things I'd never been able to have, and it was just within reach, and I can use debt to get some of those things. I've learned a lot over the years, both personally and through helping clients, and I want to share them with you. Getting out of debt is a very difficult task, and most people never achieve it. They keep running on this treadmill of debt, and they never get themselves out of trouble. You are going to run up against walls at some point, and it's okay. It happens. It happens to everybody. You are going to get surprises. You're going to get discouraged. But don't worry about it. What you need is a strategy to overcome it or to get back on track. And sometimes it isn't a strategy, but maybe it's a person or a group of people that you use to help you out. Maybe it's your financial planner. Maybe it's a group that you work with and you help each other out. As a team, you're going to get yourselves out of debt. There's a lot of ways that you can be able to do this. The first thing is when you do a great job and you pay off some debt, don't be afraid to reward yourself. You need to have the emotional wins. You need to have the satisfaction that you did something great. Now, don't go out and spend everything on the credit card that you just paid off, but it's okay to go out to dinner, to go do something nice. Do something nice with your family. It's a huge burden that's been relieved from you, and you need to celebrate this. If you know there's celebrations coming, it's easier to be able to look at the future and to make better habits and incorporate them because you know not only will it reduce stress, but you will also get these small celebrations that you're able to enjoy. For me, to get out of debt, I needed to design something that was going to work for me. And you might need to do that yourself. While we're going to share a lot of cool tools for you, I want to share what I did and how I was able to do this. So here's the Excel spreadsheet that I used to be able to get myself out of debt. Now I've modified it a little bit over the years to make it a little bit better, so it's not exactly what I started with, but it's a good process to use. Let's look at it in more detail. One of the first things that we look at is the overall debt that you have. Then we look at how much is this costing you on a monthly basis. We create a factor to look at if you pay something off, how much cash is that going to create on a monthly basis that you can use someplace else? Maybe it's paying down more debt. The next area that we want to look at is the reserves. You have to look at what types of debt you're paying off and are they going to add more reserves for you? If you are stretched to the max and you want to pay off a high interest store credit card, that might not help you if you need to pay an electric bill or some other important bill because the store isn't going to allow you to do that. But maybe a major credit card at a lower interest rate is going to be able to do it. So you're actually helping yourself build reserves. Another big factor that you have to look at is the dollar amount of the yearly interest. When you see this number and you associate it with a specific debt, not a percent, you can be overwhelmed with how much money you are spending just to have that debt. This can make you sick. It made me sick when I saw these numbers. And when I continually saw how much money I am wasting just to get these institutions rich, it made me work harder to pay off this debt. Hopefully this spreadsheet is good for you. Now we're going to go into this a little bit more in a different video, but I wanted to share it with you so you could actually see what we're able to do and how you're able to do it. In the description sections, there are some tools that are both paid for, and there's also a free tool that's out there that can help you out. In my opinion, it doesn't go far enough to be able to work with these different factors. And in reality, it's just a tool. You have to keep yourself accountable and also understand why you'd want to pay off one card versus another. So you have to have the strategy. Again, the tools are important, but your attitude and your behavior are more important when you're trying to get yourself out of debt. One of the things that you could look at is tapping into your investments on both the non-retirement and retirement side. Now, this tactic isn't good for everybody, and you have to have a lot of discipline that you're not going to go back into debt. But it's one way that you can look at getting yourself out of debt quicker and getting back in a financial standing that's going to reduce stress and make you feel more comfortable of being stronger in the future financially. When you do something like this, you will have a penalty and pay taxes when you take money out of a retirement account. But that might be the best option for you. I'm not saying it is the option for you, but you have to look at all of the options. If you're paying a 30% on a credit card and you're never going to be able to get out of this, and that's 30% every year, is it better to pay a 10% penalty one time and pay the taxes one time to be able to get yourself in a better place? I don't know the answer for you. Only you do, or a professional that you work with will have that answer. But it's something that you should look at. Now, many professionals out there will say this is a bad tactic, and that's fine. We all have different opinions about what's best for our clients. But if you have a strategy and a plan that's going to work, that's what you should follow. I hope you the best of success of managing your debt and controlling your cash flow. As we end this video today, I want to emphasize that by ignoring these things, they will not get any better. You need to have a strategy to go after your debt and get a stronger cash flow situation. Start small. Take little pieces, and you will get better. And remember, celebrate the wins because you're going to have them. And when you have the losses and you have the tough times, you need to pick yourself back up and go after them even harder to look for another celebration that you can have in the near future to make you feel more confident that the things that you're doing are putting you in a better place. Thank you, and I look forward to chatting with you in the next video.